Well, the other economic situations, that's one thing. But what was interesting was just yesterday, the president of Cuba, Raul Castro, said that he's going to support Venezuela during these times.
Hmm.
The Organization of American States was talking about disciplining Venezuela for the protests going on and the recall election. There's a recall election or a referendum to have a recall of Maduro right now, but
Hmm.
Maduro isn't allowing that to go forward immediately. So the Organization of American States is talking about maybe disciplining the country. And because of that, Cuba said, they had thought about joining the Organization of American States, but they really feel like it's still a puppet of the United States, and they're not going to join. So Cuba is standing forward and saying that they're going to support Venezuela, and to the extent that they have some sway in the area, they will. I don't know in terms of Brazil, in terms of Argentina. We have countries that were in the solid block with Venezuela who have had changes themselves recently. So the support isn't going to be there from them.
Yeah, because that's a general feeling of a couple of people is that the mood in Central South America is changing, and you can see that through the people who are now ascending to power, and as such, any cooperation coming in that area may not be as meaningful as expected. The United States of America, they held a policy totally against the moves of the Chavez administration, and by extension, President Nicolas Maduro. Has there been a stated change or a willingness to tolerate or to engage with the current Venezuelan government from the United States?
I think what President Obama does is I don't know if you'd call it smart or sneaky, but he's not really. They're not really making any overt statements about Venezuela, except they're saying that they're going to allow it to work its own problems out. But that basically means they're going to allow the Organization of American States and organizations that do work with the United States to sort of put pressure on Venezuela.
You can always see. Sorry,
Sure,
go
no,
ahead.
it's a smart move because this way it doesn't look like the United States is itself going in and forcing. And that's what Maduro has been saying is that the problems going on in the country are being brought on from abroad, mainly from the United States.
You have always been able to read my mind for the many years we've been looking at this part of the world, because that's exactly my thinking. On the one hand, is there a stated change from the United States government? Well, no. But if you look at what the OAS is doing and the selective enforcement of democratic principles, it does make a statement, does it not?
Yeah, exactly. And we look rosy, but change will happen.
If you were to do a sort of crystal balling, Karen Wanete-Carrello, if you sort of do a crystal balling of what you see coming out of this Venezuela situation from all the information you have, do you see this getting a lot worse before it gets better, or you see any silver lining? That is to say, if the price of oil continues above $50, if there is a chance that there is a control output level coming out of OPEC, that can work in favor of Venezuela, or are the problems on the ground too great to be assisted by a short-term increase in oil prices?
Personally, I don't see anything in the near future that's going to let up this problem. I don't see Maduro really staying in power that much longer. He doesn't have the support of even the Chavistas who would willingly give that support. Even a lot of Chavistas signed the referendum asking for its recall. They don't really want the opposition in power. They want another Chavista in power, and there are plenty others who, the current vice president, there are governors that could follow the program of Hugo Chavez and continue the revolution. So I see that happening more than Maduro staying in power, or even of the opposition coming into power.
There are commitments that are made by governments that should remain for a long time, but being here in Trinidad and Tobago, my concern, of course, is being if the United Socialist Party of Venezuela is unable to maintain power, that could augur for a whole altering of the agreements we have with them. The United Socialist Party of Venezuela itself, would you say they have the masses with them, or as the opposition has claimed many times, and it is widely reported, that in fact the elections that have taken place in Venezuela are rigged? The question is, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, do you think they have the masses with them?
Oh, no doubt. They have the masses with them. But again, it's the shakiness of Maduro's reign at the moment is making that teeter. But the masses are still behind a lot of the reforms that Chavez had. They would love to see that continue. And for that reason, I think they'll continue to vote for the Socialist Party.
All right, so even
the leader, I think that's the problem.
So it's a case of if the current president, Maduro, is removed, you see a successor within that party taking the reins and in an election being able to pull this out. So you are discrediting, then I'm asking, any claim from the opposition that the last election was one, rigged, and or two, that they have the support of the Venezuelan people.
Yes, I would completely discredit that.
Karen Juanita Carrello, thank you so much for taking the time. I have not spoken to you in a number of months. It is so good to hear you. It's good to know that I can get a perspective outside of what of the off-reported, because sometimes being inside the belt itself, you get the feeling that you're reading something that's a press release coming out of different government agencies and passing off for news. It does not mean that your view is correct, but it does offer a different perspective on a situation here in our region. And I thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
By the way, congratulations on your twins. And you can now go back to them controlling your life.
Thank you.
Karen, thank you so very much.